Today, I'm gonna cook excellent spaghetti with bacon, basil pesto, and chicken breast. Hi there, let's get cooking. Spaghetti is generally great because it's quick to make, delicious, and can be prepared in thousands of different ways. We'll start with the chicken breasts. Have them and season them. You could use a store-bought mix like garlic grill seasoning, but I prefer to do it a bit better. I season the meat with herbs and spices on both sides. First, I use dried thyme, though if you have a fresh plant, go for that. Then I add paprika, a bit of black pepper, and a pinch of salt. I coat both sides in olive oil. I just do this right on the plate. Finally, the herbs. I use fresh basil and parsley for two reasons. First, the meat will soak up their aroma, and second, it's for the look. If you chop them very finely and rub them onto the meat, it looks beautiful on the plate. Great, the meat is marinated. You don't need to let it sit for long because the breasts are halved so the flavor stays mostly on the surface. About 5 minutes of resting is plenty. Next, I'll prep a clove of garlic by slicing it thinly. And cut some English bacon into strips about an inch, 3 centimeters long. Now, let's fry the chicken. Pour some olive oil into a hot pan, set to about 80% power. And sear the meat quickly on both sides. Then, turn the heat down to about 40–50% and finish it slowly. This ensures the chicken is crispy on the outside but stays juicy on the inside. I'm cooking for 2 today, so if you're feeding more people, just multiply the ingredients. While the meat finishes, let's do the spaghetti. Always add them to boiling water. I add a bit of olive oil to the water to keep them from sticking, but I never add salt. I've experimented with it, but the pasta always ended up too salty for my taste, so I skip it. Give them a stir every now and then. They usually take about 10 minutes, but I start tasting them after 6 or 7 minutes. There is nothing worse than overcooked, mushy spaghetti. Now take a larger pan and heat some olive oil. Add the sliced garlic and saute it lightly. I have to confess, I was busy playing with my camera settings, adjusting the ISO and focus to get the perfect shot, and I burnt the garlic. I had to pick the burnt pieces out of the dish. So, keep an eye on it. Next, add the bacon and saute it until it renders its fat and releases all that amazing flavor. Once the bacon is ready, pour in some broth and let it reduce. This gives the dish a much deeper flavor. By now, the spaghetti is done, so drain it and add it to the pan with the bacon and reduced broth. Toss everything together so the pasta is well coated. Finally, add a few spoonfuls of basil pesto. And mix thoroughly. Here's a little tip. Leave the spaghetti in the pan for another 5 to 10 minutes over very low heat. This allows some of the water the pasta absorbed to evaporate, making the texture slightly firmer and less slippery. Trust me, it makes a big difference. Give it a final taste. It needs a bit more salt, so I'll add some now. Every bacon is different, so always salt at the very end. While I was finishing the pasta, the meat was done. I'll slice it into strips so it looks professional. We eat with our eyes as well as our mouths. Notice how the fresh herbs on the chicken are still beautifully green. Time to serve. Let's arrange it nicely on the plate. Top it with some grated Parmesan and garnish with fresh basil. And that's it. Enjoy your meal, friends, and I'll see you next time.